Hello, welcome to African King Academy. This video is going to be about WrestleMania Night 1. It's going to be about talking about what's going to happen, or what happened in Night 1, the predictions that me and my co host Augustia had beforehand. Obviously, we were unable to produce the preview show uh, due to unforeseen circumstances in terms of health. Augustia hopefully gets better soon. But we're going to go through each of the matches in the first night of WrestleMania. I think it was overall a very good night. I think I enjoyed a lot of what happened. I enjoyed a lot of the things that were put into the show. But I'm going to really go through each match from start to finish in terms of the order of in which it happened. Give me a second just to pull it up. But yeah, I think for me the first match of the night obviously was the one that I was looking more forward to in terms of the quality, in terms of what they were able to do. Obviously, last year's WrestleMania, Jimmy and Jay didn't have the best of matches. Let's be quite frank. I think the brother v brother match didn't live up to the hype and to the level of the storytelling and the storyline it deserved. And because of that, I think there was a lot of questioning on the decisions of Jay becoming champion, Jay being in this type of match, Jay being able to compete at this level. And I think he answered a lot of critics, including myself. Beforehand, I was the both me and my co-host believed that Jay was gonna win, and it did happen. It was a great match. No super kicks, but just straight grabs. Um, the great thing about this is that he won by submission. I think for me, in terms of watching experience, it was a fun little match, and I feel even though the build up wasn't the greatest to it, a lot of what was in the match made a lot of sense. Even at the moment where Gunther tries to take his title away, you know, I think Gunther for me is one of the greatest like modern day heels in terms of the character, in terms of who he is, and it works really well with this modern day product. He's kind of like a throwback type character, and I feel up against Jay, it kind of works so well. And to get the big moment of him celebrating his brother come down, celebrating with him, the whole arena going crazy. I think it was a great way to start the show, and it was a great match for me. And overall, I think the only thing I would say about the match is this: I'm not sure what's next for Jey Uso as champion. It'll be very intriguing to see who his next opponent is, who they decide to kind of go winding down in terms of the storytelling arc of what is next. Because when it comes to wrestling, it's not like a movie or a TV show. There's no end. There is no end season. After WrestleMania Night 1 and 2, there's Raw and SmackDown. Even Triple H said it himself in the conference. So it'll be very interesting what goes on further for this. And it'll be interesting to see Gunther in WWE without a title. What is his next move? Is he going to, get it back in blood? Is it going to be a back-to-back match where you're going to see it in Backlash or further down the line, or is he going to move to the different brand? The draft is going to come up after WrestleMania, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Then after that, it was the tag team match. Now, for me, I think this was the wrong tag team match to put on the card. I understand who the New Day are and the heel run, but it's not been that great. The build up for this wasn't there. There was not much interaction. It just felt like a match put on the card rather than it meaning something. And I feel like you visibly saw the boos on SmackDown when they said the Triple Threat TLC match was going to be on the next SmackDown. That is a WrestleMania worthy match. The SmackDown tag division deserved more. The Street Profits, Motor City Machine Guns, and DIY deserved more. Even the likes of Pretty Deadly, in the likes of Gaza and Gardo and them man there, they deserved more than to be put to the wayside. And I feel like for me, that's why I had no real interest into this match, and for me, this match was a much of a nothing match. It just felt like it just went by. I wasn't really interested. I had no investment into it, but I did believe New Day was gonna win because why are you gonna turn them heel if they're not gonna take the take the take the belts and be the team that everyone's trying to stop on Raw, and it gives you time to build up some other tag teams down the line. Obviously, you got the War Raiders, but in Raw, there's not many tag teams that are legitimate. So I think over time you can build up tag teams, and it will be good one day to see a heel New Day versus a face Usos. But that's really all I got on that match. Then Jade Cargill Naomi. Now let me see what he said. Yeah, he said it's a thread on Twitter, the Shark Gustia. So I'll put a link to that down below so you could see the thread. But yeah, uh, he just like I thought Jade Cargill to defeat Naomi. That's what happened. And I feel like for me, in terms of a singles women's match, I love the fact that this storyline was so great going into it. I think it had all the beats to be a WrestleMania match. It allowed for it to not need a title. And this is what I need more of. I need more women's matches in the future in pay per views that aren't revolved around the title. Sometimes have a match just because you hate each other. And that's what makes it so great. And I feel, especially for the women's division, they need more matches like this, and hopefully this is the beginning of a fruitful way of doing it. I think Jade getting her comeuppance in terms of winning the match makes sense. Naomi being able to create a new character and be a new, different type of person, especially with the heel turn. I think it really came together in the right way, and it was a good kind of middle of the road match that you can have. And for me, it's just refreshing to see storytelling be the actual point of a match rather than it. Oh, I need title. You have title. Let's fight. And then to the next match. Now this is the problem with this match, and for me there was not enough interactions with the next match in terms of Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. I knew that Jacob Fatu was going to win going into it because of he's a big star. People are saying his name. He's becoming more popular as the days go by. His catchphrases are starting to kick in. His entrance is epic, and he has a history bloodline of superstars that he can rely on in order for him to grow. And I think he is one of those guys that's going to be the next in line. I think this is just one of many championships that he's going to win in the company. Obviously, he's much older, so his time in WWE won't be long, but I think it'll be a great run. And so far, it has been. And I feel like with LA Knight, he needs something new. He needs something fresh. I think him just being in the US title picture, he needs more than that. He's too over just to be going for US titles. Give him something more, give him something fresh, because I feel like you're wasting him, especially when it comes to his kind of feeling. But what did he say? Yeah, he said Jacob Fatu winning. So far so good. 4 out of 4 in terms of the predictions. Now this next match. Now the next one is this one for me. It kind of unfortunately, Rey Mysterio got injured the night before on SmackDown, meaning that he was replaced by Rey Fenix. And for me, Rey Fenix is such a great superstar that I think he deserved a better way of having his first WrestleMania match. But when your number is up and you have to, be put in a position, I think he showed up. He showed what he was capable of, and I think he had a great entrance. I love the character. I love him and his brothers in terms of wrestlers, in terms of what they can do. But I would say for me, this match is something I don't really to care about, and I feel like it should have been. In order for it to be elevated to be WrestleMania, it should have been a mask v mask match. It should have been a way of actually finding out if El Grande is Chad Gable, because in this sense, I don't want El Grande Americano to be going on for so long. I think Chad Gable shouldn't just be, playing this character on the mask. Obviously, people think, you know, obviously we all know that it's Chad Gable under the mask, and he had a dodgy win in the match, but I felt like it should have been a mask v mask match or something in the line of finding out it's him and then going furthering the storyline from there because that's what WrestleMania is meant to do. It's either meant to start new stories or end a story, and I don't think it did either with this kind of match. So what did my guy say? Well, he said Rey Mysterio defeats El Grande Americano. Unfortunately, Rey Mysterio got injured, so he wasn't a part of the match, and El Grande won. Now, what's next for El Grande? I don't know, but I'm not really too caring about that match, and for me, I just think that's the problem when it comes to a match like this. If it doesn't lead to anything significant for Chad Gable and American Made, who I think is a great group of superstars who have the ability to win championships. In terms of Creed Brothers, they're a tag team that should be going after that tag team title that the New Day have. Ivy now should be going after the IC title. I'd have rather seen her in an IC title match than some of the matches that they have on night two. And for me, I feel like both both the LWO superstars, Ray Phoenix, Dragon Lee, these kind of characters and superstars deserve more. I think there needs to be more in terms of just luchas versus this. You don't always have to put them all together. Allow them to be their own characters, their own people, and I think they need to be split up. In all, I think LWO as a positive faction doesn't work. For me, LWO in itself was a heel faction and needs to be a heel faction in order for it to resonate with the people. And that's why you don't really get pops with the LWO and these kind of things because there is no resonation. When Chad Gable was going up against Gunther, there was a resonation. It was like, oh, something to strive for. Can he beat Gunther? Can he, overcome the big bad? That makes sense. But this, I just feel like it was just a throwaway type of match. And I understand it because obviously you have the two big matches after that. It just kind of felt meh to me. It didn't feel WrestleMania, and that's probably one of two matches that I felt that way. Next, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Now, this one, the build was terrible. I'll be honest. The the promos were just Charlotte trying to sandbag Tiffany or go off script or do different things, and it made you talk about it, but for me, it didn't add any extra fire to this match. It, for me, it should have been on the platform of Charlotte being the grizzled veteran against the upstart, the up and coming Tiffany Stratton. And even though she's the champion, she's still the underdog in this match, and that should have been the storytelling going on from it. This extra stuff for me didn't make sense, and a lot of the time it just felt kind of forced in a sense. And let's be honest, uh, Charlotte saying, um, Ludwig is in her DMs. Like, no one believed it. No one believed it at all. And for me, I'm happy that the one thing I am happy about that Tiffany won this match because Charlotte over the years has won matches that she shouldn't have. I talk about the match against Asuka. I think Asuka, you built up Asuka to a point where you just fed her to Charlotte. This felt eerily similar, but thankfully Tiffany won the match. Tiffany is the one going forward. Tiffany is getting that kind of boost from beating Charlotte Flair, the multi-time champion. And I think going forward, you can actually start to build the women's division around Tiffany and have her have some kind of actual matches based on storytelling rather than it just being on these terrible promos. Because I think in order for Tiffany to elevate, I feel like she needs a better level of opponent in terms of storytelling wise, in terms of the ability to go, in terms of I've no doubt that for me the match was great, but everything else outside of that wasn't worthy of what a WrestleMania should be. And what did he have for this? Let me quickly check this. Yeah, Tiffany. Yeah, and he's very similar in terms of the thoughts of the match being better than the feud itself, and that's what that match was. It was better than the feud itself. Now, final for me, the main event. It's the main event of this is a catch 22 in the sense of it was a great match, but I felt like going into this, it made some sense. It made sense to a certain extent. Obviously, you have Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, the Shield brothers, CM Punk, the one who introduced them, the Paul Heyman, everything that evolved around this match made sense, but at the same time, it felt like it was rushed and put together at the same time. It's a kind of mixture of both. So when I look at this match, I feel like these three characters should be doing more. I'd have rather seen a Seth v Roman match, and if anything, in an alternate reality, if Moxley would be available, it would have been a triple threat Shield match rather than having CM Punk be involved. Because I felt like CM Punk deserved a main event where he's going for an actual title. But in terms of what we got, great storytelling throughout the match. Unbelievable finish. Obviously, Paul Heyman screwing both Roman and CM Punk to align with Seth. So the one thing I would say about this match is it has something going forward. What makes you want to watch Raw or SmackDown after to see what Seth Rollins does, to see what Paul Heyman along his side does. What is this alliance going to be? Is it going to be a faction? Is it just them two? Is it going to be something bigger? It looks like we're getting back to, in terms of the entrance, Seth Rollins, the Messiah gimmick, in which he had a faction, he had a group of people behind him, and he had disciples. And I think with Paul Heyman, you can actually bring those disciples forward and maybe create his own shield in essence, create a group of young guys that he brings up to defend him. As he was CM Punk's shield, maybe he needs a shield now that he has aligned himself with Paul Heyman. Because one great thing Paul Heyman does is not only elevates the talent he's with, but also also is very great when it comes to building franchise factions, the Bloodline, um, and lost my train of thought a little bit. No, but yeah, such as the Bloodline, such as the Dangerous Alliance, and his mindset in terms of he is the man that created ECW. He has a brilliant brain when it comes to this business. So it's very intriguing to see where it goes forward. And let's see what my guy said. I feel, yep, Seth. Yes, yes, definitely. So yeah, and you know what? It's interesting to what he says in terms of he says that Seth is the most important player, Roman is the most valuable player, and CM Punk is the most transcendent. And I agree. Roman made the business great again in terms of his tribal chief run, built it up to be able to get to Netflix, to get to this, where the last two WrestleManias have had such big audiences for it. The ability to go around the world and sell out crowds, multiple Raws and SmackDowns selling out. Seth Rollins, the thing, the the major job he did in terms of last year's WrestleMania as Cody Shield, and the and the willingness to risk his body in order for that to happen. It takes a great talent to be able to understand that something's bigger than just them. And sometimes you feel like you want to be a part of the main event, but to uplift other people as well, and to be a guy that's willing to wrestle with anyone. Uh, had the world title for a long period of time, and kind of carried it in a sense to where it is a big enough title for even when Jey Uso wins it, it feels like it has some level of prestige. And then CM Punk, a guy who transcends the sport in the sense of brilliant entrance with living color, his ability to be a polarizing figure in regards to how different sets of fans feel about him, about his time in other companies such as AEW, about his first stint in the WWE, how he left. The man who left with the championship came back, the different things he's done, the summer of Punk, these things have been a part of what we've seen in terms of this sport. And all three of these men have been in terms of greatness, in terms of adding different things to the sport. They've done it in all their very unique ways. Roman is the face that of this generation. Seth is similar to your your maybe your edge, your kind of like your the guy versus the big guy. He's never gonna be the main player, but he's the guy that the antagonist of your big guy. So you always need those counteracting forces, and then being in a group together as well makes it so much sweeter. And it was great to have Paul Heyman walk out with CM Punk in the main event. Long time coming. I think he's deserved it way earlier than this. And I think for night one overall, I think this match and the first match for me were my favorite matches. I would say third place Jacob Fatu's match because he's always a delight to watch. And yeah, not much else I can say. I'll say this. Night two has a lot to live up to. Obviously, you got the mystery opponent for Randy, mystery partner for Leah Valkyria in terms of her match. So it'll be interesting to see who those two people are. And it'll be interesting to see who wins that big title match at the end when it comes to Cena versus Cody. But I will be reviewing that tomorrow as well. And also looking to see the thoughts of my partner. Hopefully he does another Twitter thread. I'll link it. As I said, I'll link it down below and make sure you check out that thread. And yeah, for what if I hope to do more kind of video style content in terms of wrestling, but I also love to do the live streams as well. So we will continue the bi-weekly live streams talking about Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, etc., on this channel. But that's been it. I've been African King. This has been WrestleMania Night 1 review, and I'm out. Peace.